The Samsung S23 Ultra is the most interesting and most customizable phone I've ever had. By this point, you probably already heard about it from this chick, this guy, and this guy. People a lot more important than me have talked about it already, that's for sure. See, the last phone that I wanted was the Razr Phone 2. I like supporting the underdog, but I broke it and I had to get a new device. A buddy of mine sold me the S20 Ultra, and after only having it for 2 months, I accidentally dropped it in the Chesapeake Bay. I'll tell you that story later. Regardless, I needed a new phone and the S23 Ultra had just been launched. Thing was, I didn't want another Samsung phone. I don't support the big boys, but there was a special deal and I decided to go for it, and after doing that, I started geeking out, and I was extremely surprised at what this phone had to offer. If you haven't already seen my video on phone emulation, I'm able to play games from the NES all the way up to the Nintendo Switch. This phone's hardware is so powerful you can actually play this generation's Nintendo games on it, and I've been emulating like crazy lately. However, this video is not about powerful specs and emulation potential. See, when I first got this phone, I was blown away by just how customizable it is. I spent several days setting up this phone to do all the nerdy and unnecessary things that made me an Android fan in the first place, and I wanted to share some of the more significant things that I've done that really makes this phone mine. The first thing is actually an app called Verticons. You can get the free or paid version depending on how much you like it, and there are a ton of app icons to choose from. I can't tell you how many hours I've spent in this app, and I really like Verticons because it makes all my apps look like mini versions of the S23. This next app is up the same vein, Nova Launcher Prime. I've been using Nova since the first Razr phone came with it, and I love this launcher. There's so much you can do with it. You can change the grid layout of your apps, set up double tap features, turn off app names, customize your app drawer, and even all of your hidden apps are stored in here, and you can restore them if you want them back. What I really love about this app is if you make an account, you can save your settings and transfer them to a new phone, so everything you've set up will remain in its proper place. Okay, let's get into the phone now. There were a few settings that I went in and changed as soon as I got the S23 Ultra. Being as this is a $1,400 phone, I know I'm going to be keeping it for years, so I want it to last as long as possible. Go to Settings, Battery and Device Care, Battery, scroll down to More Settings, and then turn off Fast Charging. Fast charging is nice, but it greatly reduces the lifespan of your battery, so I just prefer to have this off. I also turn on the Protect Battery setting. This will only allow you to charge the battery to 85%, which will also keep that lithium cell healthier for a much longer time. These batteries are big and last so long, this is worth doing. With both of these settings turned on, I get about 2 days of use before I have to charge it, and I'm emulating games on this phone if you remember. You're not sacrificing much, and you're ensuring the battery remains healthy for as long as possible. Next, go to Notifications, Notification Pop-up Style, and Edge Lighting Style. In here, you can pick which style you want. The transparency, the color, the width, and the duration. It's just a nice to have thing, and I like the chroma effect personally. Next, there's sound and vibration, sound quality and effects, and in here you can turn on Dolby Atmos. Not sure why it's disabled from the get-go, because this makes the speakers a lot louder without sacrificing quality. The speakers on this phone are great. You can also go in and set your own equalizers for games, music, movies, and whatever else. There's a lot of customization with these Dolby settings, and I love seeing that. On that note, Samsung will let you pair multiple devices to the phone, so if you're wearing earbuds and your friend is using headphones, you can connect both devices to your phone and listen to your music or movie at the same time. I love that they did this, and I just wanted to share in case you didn't know. Then there's press and hold settings. Out of the box, the power key held down opens Bixby, which is fine, but I like that to be my power off menu. In settings, go to advanced features, side key, press and hold, and you can change that to the power off menu. In there, you can also choose what double tapping the side key does, and I have that set to flashlight, which is really convenient. Next, I set my phone's navigation buttons to swipes. Took me a minute to get used to this, but I like it a lot more than the traditional Android buttons now. Go to Display, Navigation Bar, and select Swipe Gestures. There's more that we can do with this later, but I'll come back to that. One thing that was pretty important to me was being able to adjust my brightness quickly. Normally, you have to swipe down twice to get to that brightness bar, but if you swipe down from the top of your screen twice, hit the 3 dots, and then tap Quick Panel Layout, you can set the brightness control to show always, and now it's there from the get-go. It's a really small quality of life thing, but it makes a world of difference for me. This next one is a neat little trick to remove ads across Android. If you're scrolling through articles on your phone and ads keep popping up and it's really annoying, you can do this. Go to Settings, Connections, More Connection Settings, and then click Private DNS. Type in dns.adguard.com. Save it, and now you'll be ad-free across your browsers. This won't work in YouTube or other apps like that, but it will definitely work when you're scrolling through articles online. The next little trick requires you to download AliExpress, which I recommend anyway. Companies like Amazon, Best Buy, Walmart, they sell their crap at 400% higher than they bought it for. They hire some Chinese manufacturer to make the product for like 12 cents, then they mark it up and sell it to us, which is super cool. So I cut out the storefront and I buy a lot of my stuff on AliExpress instead. I got this watch band on Ali for $8. On Amazon, it was $30, so here's a cool trick. Download the app, then go to a website. Let's go to dbrand and look for S23 Ultra cases. Oh, I like this one. Scroll down from the top of your phone and you'll see the AliExpress screenshot tool. Click that and your phone will take a screenshot of the page you're on and direct you to their site, and instead of getting this case for $30, I can buy the same exact case for $3. Now, it will take a lot longer for the product to get to you, but if you're not in a rush, you'll save a lot of money buying online using this method. The third little trick is the long screenshot. I like this one. Have you ever been on Instagram or looking at an article, or you've got this long string of creepy text from your stalker and you want to share it with your friends? Well, take the screenshot and then press this arrow down button, and instead of having to take multiple screenshots, you just keep doing that until you're done. This next customization tip is one of my favorites, and there are two parts to this. See, I like having my backgrounds change. In the S23 settings, you can go to Wallpaper and Style, then click on Change Wallpapers, and you'll see a tab called Gallery. I downloaded about 130 really cool wallpapers and then put them into a folder. You can set 15 different photos for your lock screen, so every time you turn your phone on and off, it'll cycle through the ones you chose. I really love this a lot, and your clock will even change its color depending on the brightness of the background you're using. Now, as much as I love this, I wanted the same for my home screen. Unfortunately, there are no internal settings for this in Android, so I downloaded an app called Wallpaper Changer. Download this from Google Play, launch it, and from the album screen, you can direct it to the folder you want to use. Once you do that, go to the Change tab and set how often you want the wallpapers to change. You can set it to do it every few minutes, or you can set it like I did and have it change the wallpaper every time you double tap the screen to shut it off. This will cycle through all of your photos, and you even have more settings like random wallpaper order. You can have the app darken the wallpapers so they're not intrusive. You can set the image position and choose what resolution you want to use. I really like this app. It's non-intrusive, ad-free, and it doesn't suck a lot of resources either. Now we're going to get into arguably the most important app to download for customizing the S23 set of phones. This app is called Good Lock, and I'm not going to go through every setting in here. I have traversed this entire app and I've found the things that I like the most, and I'll share those with you now. When you launch the app, you have two pages, Makeup and Life Up. Let's start with Makeup. Pentastic is the first app I downloaded. In here, you can decide which pen drawer you want to use. I went for the circular one, and I keep all of my hidden apps in here. For example, the Good Lock app itself isn't in my app drawer. I hid this app so my phone doesn't feel so cluttered. But if I ever want to open Good Lock, or Nova settings, or even my wallpaper changer, I have them in the S Pen menu, which means I can only access them through there. You can also customize your pointer in Pentastic. You can make it a heart or a basic pointer, you can download your own custom image and use that if you like, and you can also pick the sound your phone makes when you remove the S Pen from its dock. Next, we have Navstar. This is going to adjust the navigation bar at the bottom of the phone. By default, it's kind of long, so you can shorten it if you like, you can make it thicker or thinner, you can even choose the color you want to match a specific theme you've got going on. There's also back gesture sensitivity, so if you notice you accidentally gesture back too often, you can lower that sensitivity, which helped me a lot. Next, we have Home Up, and there's really only one reason I use this app. Go into the task changer setting at the bottom, and now you can pick what your tasks look like when you're scrolling through all the apps that you have open. I picked Stack. It looks like an Apple style, which is really nice, and you can choose if you want the app label on the top or not. Lastly, in Makeup, we have Quick Start, and this one is also nice for one reason. Show Quick Button Grid. Set that to on and watch this. Scroll down from the top of the phone twice, click the three dots, and select Button Grid. Now you can choose how many of these tiles you want to see at a time. I have mine set to a 5x3, and those are the only tiles that I really need, so it's all cleanly on one page. I don't have to keep scrolling through multiple pages to find the tile I'm looking for, and I like this a lot. So now we're going to move into Life Up. First one is Nice Shot, and this is for screenshots specifically. I like to have all three of these options turned on. Disable crop snapping makes it so that the AI doesn't try to snap your crops to the edges of pictures. The delete button makes it so that if you take a screenshot and it's not what you wanted, you can delete it from the pop-up instead of having to go into your library. And Do Not Disturb when screen recording turns off notifications while you record your screen, which is super obvious but useful as hell. Now we have Camera Assistant, and this one has a lot of goodies in it. Auto HDR, picture softening so you don't get Samsung's harsh sharpening in your photos, auto lens switching, which is a give or take for me, quick tap shutter so you take a photo the second you hit the button. You can also tell your camera what to prioritize, quality or fast photos. You can set the photo mode so that if you hold the shutter button, it'll start recording a video. There's a lot to this one, and I recommend really going through all these settings if you want to optimize your camera. Then we have Registar, which is one of my favorite apps. When you launch the app, open Backtap settings. From here, you can set double tap to run a command and triple tap to run a command. I have double tap set to open Google Maps and triple tap for Spotify. This way, when I'm driving, I don't have to hunt for these apps. I can double tap the back of my phone, open Maps, tell it where I want to go, and then triple tap to start my music. It's so fast and I'm not even looking at my phone to do it. I recommend adjusting the sensitivity pretty high, especially if you're going to use a case. Lastly, we have Sound Assistant. I like this one because I'm able to customize my theme to purple and it all matches across my Samsung, but what I really liked was the ability to set the step volume. By default, when you press the volume, it'll jump up or down 10 steps. If that's too much for you, you can set it to only do 8 or 5 or 1. Now, there are a couple more cool things that I wanted to show you before we go. First one is Screen Off Memo. If your phone is off and you pull out the S Pen, you can start writing on your screen, so if you need to make a grocery list, you can do it right here, and then when you save it, it goes into Samsung Notes, so you've always got it. Now, if the pen is already out of your phone, just hold the S Pen button and tap the screen, and it'll bring up the Screen Off Memo. Then you have Gallery. I normally use Google Photos, but this gallery is pretty cool for a couple reasons. Firstly, you can tap and hold any photo and it'll cut the thing out that you're touching, and you can save it as its own PNG image. Not only that, but you also have tools for removing shadows from pictures, and you can even remove signs, people, flagpoles, or whatever else from the photo using the object eraser. Now, I could talk all day about what I did to my phone to make it mine, and all of these tiny customizations that I spent hours researching and turning on, but these are the big ones. And it's quite amazing how deep you can go with this phone. This is one of the most powerful, the most customizable, and the most fun phones I've ever owned, and probably their best phone yet, which makes me wonder why they keep raving about their foldable phones, saying that the Galaxy Flips are the absolute best phones on the market. I don't know, to me it just seems like a weird flex.